Welcome. I'd like to introduce John McDonald and his German Shepherd, Yoda. Malcolm is almost 7 months old, and at this age, he has realized there's an us and a them, and apparently his them is all capitalized. And as a typical German Shepherd, he's barking at what he doesn't know how to deal with. So children, strange dogs, blowing leaves, they all get barked at, and it's very normal for his age. So today, John arranged to bring Yoda, who's neutral, to meet Malcolm. That is how Malcolm has been greeting dogs he doesn't know. That is not aggression. That is a combination of frustration, anxiety, and mild fear of not knowing what to do. It's decreasing each time we do this, but it's the process we need to go through to give Malcolm the tools he needs to become a viable member in the community, that he isn't barking at every strange dog he sees. So what I'm doing is playing Look at That. I have asked John, which we discussed this before we started the training, to give Malcolm distance anytime Malcolm became overexcited, to go further away. So every time Malcolm got excited, he moves away and gives Malcolm distance, giving me time to work with Malcolm with the beef jerky that Cherie Elcombe, thank you, sent us, and give Malcolm time to work out that this dog isn't going to hurt him and that he can be okay and just see him without barking. So look at that means he gets to look at the scary thing and something good happens. John just did something absolutely beautiful, and we had not discussed it, but he slipped behind the vehicles and went out of Malcolm's line of sight. When I realized he did that, I stopped giving Malcolm treats. As long as the scary thing is in the line of sight, lots of good things happen, and when the scary thing goes away, those good things stop. This seems to help dogs accept the scary things a little bit better. So John stepped back into Malcolm's line of sight. Malcolm got excited again. John stepped back out. Treats had started. Treats stopped. I decided that the clicker was causing our rate of reinforcement to be too low, giving Malcolm too much time to think about what's going on and not giving him a high enough reinforcement for seeing Yoda. So I put my clicker away, and I'm now asking John to bring Yoda into sight and out of sight, and whenever he's in sight, I'm just stuffing Malcolm's face. I don't care if he's looking at me or looking at the scary thing or doing a tap dance. Right here, I turn Malcolm's back to Yoda. He's still very aware Yoda's there, but it gave him a higher chance of succeeding and thinking. If you watch, Malcolm's now looking to find Yoda because the treat stopped. And his level of excitement is lower every time Yoda comes back into sight. Yoda's in direct sight right now, even though Malcolm's back is to him. He's very aware Yoda's there. But he's not as excited as he was. His ruff isn't standing. His body isn't as tense. There's a lot more fluid motion in his body. He's starting to wag his tail, and he's standing tall, and he's looking more relaxed, even though he's still jumping around a lot. It's very puppy excitement going on. And he really doesn't need to look at Yoda, even though John has now moved Yoda over half the distance back towards where Malcolm is. Malcolm is wagging his tail and calm. And then treats stop and Yoda's gone. And he's starting to make the connection. He's looking for Yoda. Where did the dog go that caused all the good stuff? There he is. still some barking, still a little bit excited. You can still see a little bit of his ruff is standing up. But he's really noticing that all the treats stop whenever Yoda leaves. And this time, no barking when he first sees Yoda. Doesn't mean he's done barking. See? He's a puppy. But he's starting to make the connection that Yoda means treats. And that barking is just excitement level now, because if you notice, his ruff is down, his body is a lot more fluid, and he's got his side to Yoda, and he's not really worried as worried about Yoda as he had been. Now he's kind of waiting for Yoda to show back up. And so we're going to bark at Yoda for a second, but we're now looking at Yoda and looking at me, and it's much faster, which is an excellent sign that he's calming down about Yoda. So I'm going to ask John to walk around us, and John does something absolutely beautiful, and he keeps a nice wide distance between us. He stays on the opposite side of the street, and while Yoda's moving and walking past us, with that big distance between us still, Malcolm's getting all kinds of good stuff. I'm dropping the treats on the ground because it gives Malcolm a little something extra to do. Kind of teach him to diffuse some of the energy by sniffing the ground. And John never got so close that Malcolm got worried or upset about what Yoda and John was doing. I bet he wanted to go say hi. So we're going to end this with John stopping at the end of his truck with Yoda and us moving towards Malcolm. Now, in the dog world, you would think a dog walking towards me is the same as me walking towards the dog in a dog's mind, but it's not. It's two different things. So now Malcolm's moving towards Yoda, and we're just working on staying loose leash and staying focused and just getting past Yoda without getting upset about him. And if you notice, I'm putting distance between Malcolm and Yoda, which is one of the reasons why I turned around and came back. And Malcolm's looking at him, but he's not upset or worried about him even when he directly passes him. By the way, this is my second day with my new brace on my leg, and I'm walking much better. So now we're going to parallel walk together, back, and at the tail end, I'm going to give Malcolm permission to say hi to Yoda. This is the very first time Malcolm and Yoda ever met. So there you go. That was the entire time we spent getting Malcolm and Yoda introduced.
Okay, let's go
Malcolm
play.
did great, and they ended up playing for about 2 hours after this. Thank you, John. Thank you, Yoda.